Before I start the video, I want to quote confidently from Deuteronomy. If a prophet says to you that the Lord has spoken, and not one jot of what this prophet has said does not come to pass, then that prophet was not sent from God. What does that mean? If that prophet was not sent from God because the prophecy did not come to pass, it failed miserably, then a lying spirit, a lying source sent that message. Before I go into the prophecy on Britain, in 2015, I was given a very powerful dream. Very powerful. I'll tell you the background to why I was given it, okay? Of an earthquake that came from heaven and smashed the pavement. An earthquake came from heaven. And what's interesting, in this dream, I was summoned to 10 Downing Street. And in the spirit, I was in the House of Commons. And I could see the leaders talking amongst themselves. But everything that they did or tried to do failed. They were so frustrated that the leaders turned to each other and they asked a question: why are we cursed? This is a dream that I had, and in which I replied, in this dream, because you are persecuting the church. If I cast your mind to how many Christians, genuine Christians, were sent to prison, lost their job because they refused to call the 6'5", 6 brawny big men, they refused to call them Jane and Susan. And as a result, because they wouldn't compromise the word of God, many lost their jobs. Now, what's interesting, I had this dream in 2015. In 2000, to cut a long story short, I was so concerned that the LGBTQ was persecuting Christ at gay pride. They were mocking him. And no pastor said nothing. All they wanted was money. That's all they wanted was money. They didn't care about the blasphemy that was taking place. And it cut me up. I was going through depression, deep depression. And I had a powerful dream in 2015. In 2016, the referendum took place. 2016. While this battling was going on, suddenly I remembered the prophetic dream I had in 2015, and I said, look at my channel, Brexit and all that, an earthquake, and you will see. Just look at the dates and times. And I said, it's going to end in tears. It's going to end miserably. And I even made in fact, if you look at my previous video, which I made today, I put all the links to that video I made, all the links. And I says, everything that Britain does, everything will be cursed. I even says that the House of Parliament will be led by a pack of monkeys. And do you know what's interesting? When they got rid of Theresa May and Boris Johnson came in, which in one of my videos, I called him King Nebuchadnezzar. When God brought down King Nebuchadnezzar from his natural mind, Boris Johnson was talking about Peppa Pig. This is a prime minister, the leader of the world, the most powerful men, and he was talking about pepper pigs. And these clever men, learned men, was rationalizing, well, it's big business, pepper pigs. They would admit that Boris Johnson went doolally. And it went from bad to worse. The, what do you call it? The lockdown parties, corruption galore, and then they had a vote of no confidence, and Liz Truss was elected. And I still said, the curse of God is on Britain. You had earthquake, COVID, war against Russia, inflation, cost of living. I said, just look at my video when Liz Truss became Prime Minister. I said it will get worse. As I quoted from the beginning, if a man or woman claim that God has spoken to them and that thing don't come to pass, you're dealing with a liar. You're dealing with a lying spirit. If that thing does not come to pass, you're dealing with a lying spirit. And do you know why all these prosperity preachers were saying God's going to bless Britain? Now she's left Europe. God's going to this. And I was one man in the wilderness on my own. While all the church were prophesying and speaking in tongues, God's going to bless pagan Britain that mocks them and laugh at the Son of Man. God's going to bless them. I was one voice in the wilderness. And I says, no, he will not. Based on that prophetic dream, I had one of many I had. What's interesting, Liz Truss hasn't even warmed her seat. She hasn't even sat down. Look, you see me sitting here, I'm feeling comfortable. I can sit here for hours and do this video. Liz Truss, she hasn't even sat down 5 minutes. And already, like Julius Caesar and Antony, is this a dagger in my side? Is this a dagger in my side? Already, they're ousting her. They will not agree. They will not come together. They are cursed. As in my dream, when they looked at each other, the politicians in my dream, and they asked, why are we cursed? Have you ever come across a politician that sat on their backside for 2 minutes, on their backside, and already there's a vote of no confidence? The Tory party split. Britain is on its knees. Cost of inflation, petrol prices, empty shelves. The shelves are empty. And a lot of things like the food can't come over, but somehow Liz Truss, she managed to make the rich rich, and the budget she came out with, the budget was to make the rich prosperous while the poor are dying. One of my subscribers left a very sad message for me. I said two of her children got autism, and you know, her husband died a few years ago. She's really struggling because she didn't want to, in her mind, she didn't want to take the vaccine. She had that right, and as a result she lost her job as a nurse. You know, but while you got sad stories like that, the politicians are making the poor poorer and the rich richer. Liz Truss, the budget she did was to look after the super rich. But still, with all that, there's a vote of no confidence, meaning the Tory party is split. People are hungry. The food banks, the food banks, the charity, have run out of food. And we are told in the last days there'll be pestilence and famine and wars in diverse places. But let's go back to the prophecy. What's interesting? Britain has never had a solid government in the last 4 years. In the last 4 years, and it's gone worse in the last 2 years. And Liz Truss has never sat down on her backside and made an honest policy, and already is a vote of no confidence. Never in history has this been done. Never in history have you seen a prime minister talking, babbling and gobbledygooking. Never in history on Peppa Pig. And people who voted him, like the emperor has no clothes, and people look intelligent. The emperor's naked. But people, because they love the emperor, they pretend the emperor had clothes on. The power of delusion. And all his supporters, isn't he lovely? Coming like something beautiful and intelligent. Talk about Peppa Pigs. Oh, I could do a deep video on this. This is just nothing more than hero worship. Then when someone talk gobbledygook, but you're like, this sitting there so smiling sweetly. Britain is cursed. And it's going to get worse. When God curses a nation, God is not limp-handed. Oh. When he curses a nation, he does it properly. I started this video with a quote from Deuteronomy. If a prophet claims that God spoke to them, and that thing does not come to pass, you're dealing with a liar. You're dealing with lying spirits. Why, be honest with me. Have you ever come across anyone in America or Britain who had a prophecy like this and spoke confidently and stood by it? No. And you know why? They've never heard the voice of God. And what they heard was not for God's glory. It was for their own political agenda or to promote their church. Oh. And that's why God don't speak to anybody. They're there to promote Donald Trump or a political party or their own church or their own pockets. They're not there for the glory of God. And that's the reason why you don't have no genuine prophets today that can stand and say, this is what's going to happen. And it happens. I was broken inside when I saw the LGBTQ mocking Jesus Christ. And I almost had a breakdown. I was depressed. And that's the reason why I had that powerful prophetic dream in 2015. And look at the world now. You had referendum in 2016, and then you had COVID, you had disasters, pandemic, lockdown, floods, fires, then food famine, and now the war with Russia and Ukraine. And it's going to get worse. I have a very powerful video to make after this. Very powerful video. It is shocking. It's not looking good. All these prosperity preachers living in mansions telling you, don't worry, these fake prophets, don't worry, things will be all right. Giving you itching message. Beautiful, sweet message like honey. You had them in Israel's time when God was going to destroy Jerusalem, and it happened in AD 71. Jeremiah said what would happen, and the fake prophets were going around telling Israel, no, it's not going to happen. God's going to bless you. That's what the fake prophets were going around in Israel telling them God's going to bless them, and Israel ended up losing Jerusalem. Now they're trying to rebuild it, but it's the Antichrist going to enter into it. Now they're trying to, re-enter or trying to rebuild Jerusalem, even though God says he's going to destroy it. Oh, I have to make another video regarding this. I did cover the building of the temple, the third temple. I did cover it, but I'm going to do another one because somebody mentioned about the Haifa, etc. But I hope you enjoy this video. But Liz Truss is facing a vote of no confidence. Britain is collapsing. Britain is finished. Unless she repents in sackcloth and leave Christians alone, leave us alone, or it will get worse.